Before I get into this video, this is not a hit piece against Manny or Floyd. This is just strictly talking about Phil J and how dumb this article is. So this guy tries to use common link opponents between the two in this entire article to say who the better fighter is. But then at the very end of the article, he says, I wouldn't be the one to argue. So basically, you just wrote a whole lot of nonsense trying to insinuate that Manny Pacquiao is better than Floyd Mayweather, but at the end of it, you're going to write that you're not the one to argue it. Then why are you even writing this article? See, let me tell you how dumb some people are in the media. Common link opponents are used in boxing, probably MMA, all combat sports in general, right? But the only time they're used is when two fighters have not fought. So in other words, when Floyd and Manny were going to fight, they were looking at people like Cotto to see how good they did against Cotto, or Ricky Hatton, or Oscar De La Hoya, or Shane Mosley, etc. All right? That's what they were doing. They were trying to figure out who the better fighter was, and I left out Marquez. We'll throw Marquez out there as well because I believe they had 5 common opponents. All right? Before they fought, people were trying to use how they did against each of them to see how good they would gauge against each other, which isn't always the case and doesn't always come out like that because every fight is different and every fighter fighting every fighter is a different way that they're going to fight that fighter. But with that being said, it is common practice that this is used to gauge how fighters would fare in boxing. It always has been. However, you do not use it as a gauge after the two fighters have fought. Why? Because the conclusion is out there. One won, one didn't. Or maybe in a rare case they got a draw. But either way it goes, the conclusion is out there of who the better fighter was. In this case, when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao, Floyd won. Period. There is no argument to be had anymore. There are no more common opponents to look at anymore because they actually fought. You don't need to gauge who they fought, when they fought them, because they fought each other. Now, with that being said, this article is dumb, and the author of this article, Phil J, knows that it was dumb. That's why at the end of it, he didn't want to give his opinion, even though he insinuated through the entire article. I can understand why Floyd Mayweather fans say that the media is against Floyd because Floyd has been retired for years now, maybe coming back to fight Logan Paul, I don't know. But it's not even a real boxing match, it's an exhibition, so we'll still say he's retired. You know, they've been against Floyd forever, and this is why Floyd fans say that the media was against him. And this is why somebody like me has to kind of say, they might be on to something because this man has been retired forever. And they're still trying to say that Manny Pacquiao is the better fighter than Floyd, even though Floyd beat him. No, I'm sorry. That's not the case. When you beat somebody, you're better than them. Especially if you're a fighter who went undefeated. Especially if you fought that fighter when you were more out of your prime than they were. See, people like to forget that Floyd Mayweather is actually older than Manny Pacquiao. So when they fought, whenever they say, oh, the fight came 6 years too late, well, if it came 6 years too late, then it came 6 years more too late, if I can even say it like that, for Floyd Mayweather because he was the older fighter, which means that aging or something taking longer would affect him quicker than it would the younger guy. So that argument goes out the window. Again, I will restate this. This is not against Manny. This is not against Floyd because in my opinion, Manny Pacquiao by far has the better legacy. By far. If I was going to make a all-time great list, Manny would be higher on my all-time great list than Floyd Mayweather because Manny made better moves throughout his career than I felt Floyd Mayweather did. Now, when it comes to who the better fighter is, there's no argument to be had because Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat Manny Pacquiao. If Floyd would have made the moves like Manny, would he have remained undefeated is the real question. And nobody knows that answer because Floyd didn't always tend to fight the best when they were the best. He didn't always go after the best champion at the time. He sometimes went after weaker champions to collect belts. Now, I know that's done a lot in boxing, but again, when you're talking about an all-time great status, you have got to look at who they fought and when they fought them and who the other people they could have fought were. And that is why, unfortunately for Floyd Mayweather Jr., I find him falling short on my all-time great list. I think Floyd technically is one of the best boxers to ever get in there and do it, technically. I think Floyd could have been a top 3 all-time great without a doubt if he would have made the right moves. I think he has all the attributes to have done it, but because he chose to maybe make business moves over legacy moves, that reflects on your legacy. It reflects on it. And because of that, I cannot have Floyd that high of an all-time great. But what you cannot deny Floyd is how great of a fighter he was. Because when he fought people like Manny Pacquiao, who are deemed to be world stoppers, he beat them. He beat them. So at the end of the day, my whole point of making this video was, this is dumb. This article should have never been wrote. It's an irrelevant article, and I don't even understand why it was wrote when the author of the article doesn't even want to make an opinion on his own article he wrote. You spend the whole time insinuating that Manny is better than Floyd, but when it's time to say it, you get cold feet and you don't say it in your own article. No, you know this is nonsense. And again, I will restate what I said earlier. These articles right here is why Floyd fans, who some people call Flomos, and other people call Manny fans Pactars. It's dumb. I don't call anybody that, but just thought it'd be funny to say it. But this is the reason why Floyd fans say the media has always been against him, because of articles like this that get published that should never even be published. An editor should have saw this, or whoever, the chief of whatever company, I think it was World Boxing News, when they saw this, they should have been like, look here, Phil, throw this shit in the garbage. This is dumb. You don't even have an opinion on your own opinion. And that's really why I came on here to talk about this. This was not to say that Manny is greater than Floyd or Floyd is greater than Manny, because I believe both are greater than the other with whichever aspect you look at. Again, I will say one last time, because I know I get repetitive and I always come back full circle to things I've said before, just to drill it in or nail it in, however you want to say it. The bottom line is this. If you're looking at legacy, if you're looking at the whole body of work, their resumes, I believe Manny Pacquiao is greater than Floyd because of what he did throughout his entire career. However, if you're going solely off of who the better fighter is, then I have to say hands down, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the much better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. There was no doubt in my mind going into the Manny versus May fight that Mayweather would win that fight. I did a prediction on it, pre-fight prediction video years ago that you can look up, and I even stated in that video that this would look like a sparring match, that Manny would have no answer to Floyd moving away from him, that he would be following him like a puppy because he doesn't know how to cut off the ring properly. And I even think I brought up the check hook that Floyd hit him with all night. There was a lot of things that I said in my prediction video that came to fruition. It came true. So there was no surprise to me how the fight played out. With that being said, again, Floyd is the much better fighter because they fought and Floyd won. There's no more dispute. There's no more question of who the better fighter is when a fighter beats another fighter. That's how I look at it. That is my opinion. Unlike Phil, I state my opinion when I'm giving my opinion in a video that is about my opinion. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give it a thumbs down. If you really like the video, please subscribe to my channel, because that is what helps me out the most. And when you sub to the channel, hit that notification bell. That way you can get updated when I drop the newest content like this. Also, don't be scared to hit up that comment section. If you believe Manny is a better fighter than Floyd, then write it why. If you believe his shoulder was really injured, write it in the comment section and we can talk about it. Tell me why you agree with Manny being a better fighter than Floyd. And if you agree with me and say Floyd is the better fighter than Manny, then tell me why. If you disagree on legacy and you think Floyd's legacy is greater than Manny, write in the comment section. Tell me why. If you agree with me and you think Floyd's legacy is worse than Manny's, then write in the comment section and tell me why you agree. But with that being said, I'm going to get off the phone. I'm a little stuttering because I'm in dense traffic, driving, recording, talking. So excuse me for the little stutter steps I do in my talking. Y'all have a good day.